somebody listening GCC word for the first time, Global Capability Center, what they actually do.
GCC is not merely an ODC owned by the parent company.
Mr. Avinash Rao, who has 24 years of experience leading GCC, setting up GCC from ground. So we're going to talk about GCC at length, what global capability centers are. We're going to talk about product management, careers in product, careers in consulting, and we're going to try to draw parallels among all three of them. So what, as per you, will reward more? Somebody getting more expertise in one role in different sector, or somebody getting deep expertise in one role in one sector?
People are asking the wrong question. And I think what the career company is doing is really helping them with that question.
If we now just build a persona of what kind of personality thrive in product management, what kind of personality thrive in consulting, and what in GCC, what that would be. If we now just build a persona of what kind of personality thrive in product management, what kind of personality thrive in consulting, and what in GCC, what that would be.
Consulting, and this is now a rule of thumb. This is not a rule of the market. There may be experts who disagree with this. This is simply my experience having lived through consulting careers, right? Consulting, the best consultants that I have seen have lived in two different places at the same time. What do I mean by that? They are children of parents who were in transferable jobs, let's say. So they were Kannadigas, Tamilians, Marathi people who had to perforce live in Bengal, Delhi, where at home you have a certain culture. You step out on the street, you're dealing with a different culture, right? So you see both are valid, both are valuable. And they learn something from both, right? If you are a person who's from Nagpur, and you've lived all your life in Nagpur, and you're very happy and settled in this culture, the nature of this person is different from this other person who's from Nagpur, but has spent 3 years in Bangalore, 5 years in Delhi, 3 years in Jaipur, and then had a foreign posting in Dhaka. Parent has had it. But they've grown up seeing their worldview accepts many different things compared to somebody who's grown up in a home and an outside that is both consistent. Right? There's no dissonance in their world.
Correct.
They belong to a certain place. They're very proud of belonging to that particular place, and they're very happy and successful in that place. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong.
Correct. We are defining personalities.
We're defining personalities. But if you've been forced to look at something that is different and then understand why it is like that, that gives you a huge advantage to being a consultant. Because what a consultant needs to have is an ability to see patterns. That this particular pattern is happening in all these different places. There's a common way where things have made progress, where things have worked. I am now going to take the lessons from those and apply them here in what appears to be a different context, but it's not, because the underlying pattern is the same. Right? That is what a consultant does. If you want to be a truly world-class consultant, you have to be able to see those patterns. Right? There is no course in any MBA that I'm aware of that says spotting patterns. Right? It's almost a life skill. And I'm not saying it can't be learned. It can definitely be learned. But that, if you see that in yourself, I would strongly recommend a consulting career because you're likely to excel in it. Not because it pays well and you can see the world. You can go on vacation with many other careers, right? But you will enjoy it. And because you enjoy it, you will do so well in it that the industry will significantly reward you for it. Right?
Two more traits for consulting if you buy that. One is that every time you are in a group setting, you are discussing something, you open a sheet and you try to structure it. That let's go one by one, let's think this. And every time when somebody asks this कि fourth day पे ये करेंगे, fifth day पे ये करेंगे, आप बोल रहे हो जाना क्यों है? कहाँ जाना है? कितने लोग हैं? So you are also ability to zoom in and zoom out.
Correct. Actually, what you said is incredibly critical. It is very true for very successful top leaders, and it is very true for consultants, which is where, if you see, particularly in the US, a lot of people who grow in consulting then make a lateral career move to the C-suite.
CXOs. Absolutely.
Because they're
the best fit for that.
They're the best fit because they've learned the ability to go into the details, understand it, and then zoom out to understand the strategic implications of those details.
Correct.
Right? So that is another core consulting skill. A third consulting skill is the ability to communicate. Ability to communicate in a way that the other person hears. Right?
In his language.
In his or their language.
Their language.
So there was, I was working in the US, and there was, from a very different context, right? I was in a meeting And there was this person who was, it was in the Midwest, a fairly conservative, traditional part of the US. And everybody's wearing suits and it's a very formal setting. And there's this person who's come in, he was from a different part of the country, I won't name which state, who was dressed very brightly, right? Dressed very, very brightly. And this lady who's the VP, she stops the presentation after 15 minutes. And that person is super competent who is presenting, very competent, master at his field. And he says, "Sir, your personality is so loud that I can't hear a word you're saying." Right? And so that person should have understood who he is speaking to. And
उस जगह का सत्य क्या है जो हम आज सुबह बात कर रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल
What is the
उस
truth of
जगह
that?
exactly. And these are all very smart, intelligent, open-minded people, right? But it's just that the nature of that place demands you to behave in a certain manner, and that a consultant needs to understand,
Correct.
right? Otherwise, you won't be a very successful consultants across contexts.
Because solving a problem is not only a job, to explaining and selling that idea,
Selling and then landing the solution.
landing the solution
Landing the
is that's where you get money.
That's where you get money. That's where you get rewarded. Because at the end of the day, the reward is for landing the solution,
Solving the problem.
solving the problem,
Correct.
right?
Product management.
Product management is slightly, it's very interesting. There's some overlap, but not as much overlap as you would think. The personas are actually reasonably different. A consultant has spotted a pattern and they've said, okay, I'm now going to apply my intelligence, my education, my understanding of the world to getting an insight. Defining an insight is very different from taking an insight, which could be first hand, it could be second hand, and translating that into something real, tangible that is in production. Right? So the attention to detail, consultants, high need for change. Product management, attention to detail. You have to see those insights.
You have to assume all the nuances.
Yes, and you have to then translate it into something that can be built. Now, a consultant has the luxury of saying in a PPT that, here are your trade-offs. Here's what I recommend. But the amount of trade-offs that a product manager is saying I have this skill, this is my schedule, this is my budget, which of this part of the vision can I take and turn into an MVP that will actually succeed, needs a huge amount of trade-offs. The ability to make trade-offs is critical. And it's not a question of, I'm going to throw this out. It's not very simplistic like saying, I'm going to apply this framework. I'm going to keep the top 3 things. The top 3 things may not work very well together. They may not be internally consistent.
Correct.
So to understand from a big picture and derive that here are the parts of the whole that fit together to give value as an MVP to a customer is something that product managers need.
And I would like to add a deep understanding of human behavior and human psychology. कब बंदा नेक्स्ट कर देगा और कब बंदा बैक दबा देगा, अगर प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर को नहीं पता है तो कुछ और ही बना देगा.
वहाँ पे there are two views of the world. I don't think they're conflicting views of the world. I think they work together.
Okay.
There's one brand of product management that is practiced which is very data driven, where people say everything is a metric. Where they say measure this. You want to take a decision of whether it is this or this, do an A/B test, whichever succeeds, you
ले
do.
लो.
Thoda sa, I find that a little bit of a paint by numbers. For everything you run an experiment, right? The real work of product management is being done one step before that. How did you even decide
कि ये बनाना
कि
है.
ये बनाना है? That is where the skill of, there's an art and there's a science. So product management, when we speak of product management, we often speak of the sides of product management.
Correct.
But there's an art to it. And the art needs the ability to understand the big picture, understand how pieces fit together, make trade-offs, and create something which is then executed as a science.
And there is a huge component of communication in product manager in the way they build the product. I was just talking to my product manager two days back and said that if you list all the things that Paytm does or PhonePe does, and if I ask you to put it on a screen, you will be overwhelmed. आप फोन पे कभी खोलोगे नहीं. But इतना अच्छे से they put up in a thing कि आपको कुछ दिखता ही नहीं है. जब फोन पे खोलो खाली दिखता है, आपको वही दिखता है जो आपको चाहिए.
Correct. And the art there is also ecosystem orchestration. I call it ecosystem orchestration.
Okay.
A product manager is balancing the needs from sales and marketing who are screaming that they are not meeting their targets because you have not put this feature in the product. Right? So there's pressure from there. There's pressure from line saying this is your budget. This is what you have. Right? A successful product manager is a little bit of a politician. And I don't mean, see, we tend to have a negative view of politics, but politics is
diplomat.
the art of the possible. Right? That's what politics is. It's
Very
the
well
art
defined.
of the possible. he or she has to look at this entire thing and say, what is possible? It is not an unconstrained role. Consulting can sometimes be a slightly unconstrained role. This is the joy of consulting. But product needs you to think as a ecosystem orchestrator, almost a mini politician, to say, this is what I want to achieve. And see, the best politicians are those who do all the jugards in the world, but they have
get the job done.
They get the job done for a good cause or
For a good
object,
cause, of course.
right? That distinguishes good politicians versus bad politicians, you know.
True.
But hopefully, your agenda as a product manager is to be able to bring the system together so that there's value.